Hi guys, very good morning to you. This is Ajay and today we are going to talk about how to export the Excel sheets from the different workbooks and how to export them in the another Excel workbook where you are actually going to compile all those sheets coming from the different workbooks. Different when I say means it can be 10 workbooks, it can be 20, 50, whatever, right? And this we are going to learn using the collection loop. This is going to be the series number 4, and if you're watching my channel for the first time, and or let it be you already know my channel, you're a part of this channel, but you don't have any idea about the collection loop, then please first go ahead and click on this playlist, and in this playlist you will have to find this Excel VBA collection loops. Alright, so this is the one exactly I was talking about, because hey, in this video this is not going to be the basic video, it is going to be the advanced Excel actual VBA. But if you don't have any idea about the collection loops, then please go ahead and watch first these 3 videos. These 2 videos are on the for each worksheet, and this video is on the for each workbook loop. I'm not really going to explain in this video from the very scratch, because I've already explained a lot of things here. And for those who are watching my channel for the first time, please go ahead and watch all these playlists. We have got 238-39 videos on Excel VBA, Access and Access VBA. Okay, because I just want you to be awesome in Excel Access. So in that attempt, with that kind of ambition, I'm actually day by day uploading a lot of great videos here. So guys, what in this video, what exactly we want to do, I have this dummy sheet open. Okay, and as you can see here, its name is dummy.xlsm. So now what we actually want is, we want to bring all those sheets from the different workbooks. For example, I have opened here this workbook which is called test, and here you have the 3 sheets. It can have 50 sheets. That's really not a headache, right? Because I'm not going to write here sheet name specifically, my loop will take care of everything. So we want to copy all these sheet data, and we want to create here 3 sheets, and on those 3 sheets we want to actually bring that data. And then again we have another workbook which is test 1, and here you can see that we have the 4 sheets. So we want to bring all those sheets here in the dummy one. And so let's say if you have 50 workbooks, then in that 50 workbooks, if you have 4-5 sheets, that means that how you actually can quickly using the macro can bring all those sheets in one under one roof, which is your this dummy.xlsm. So this is what exactly we're going to run. Okay, we are going to make this kind of a code, awesome code. And so let's go ahead and click on the Visual Basic, guys, and this is the window, and I'm going to write here the macro quickly. Okay, now before we go ahead, let's quickly actually add the sheets, how many sheets we need. Now let's say you have no idea, but still to your best judgment, just create the extra sheets, because the extra sheet is not going to create any problem, but the sheet numbers should not be less. So I'm going to quickly create here 10 sheets. Let's say Shift F11 is the shortcut key, by the way. So these are the sheets which I have created, as you can see. Okay, so I'm pressing Shift F11. Let me write it, Shift F11. This is the shortcut key to insert the sheets, right? So I'm keeping the extra buffer so that all the sheets can come here one by one. Okay, and we really don't interested in the naming convention. We don't need that, guys. Okay, let it be anything. All right, now what is the next thing we want to do? So I'm gonna write here the loop, and the loop starts like this. So let's go to the module 2. This is the module 2 actually. So if you have seen all those videos, then this is how we're going to write compile. And let me just close this, because then we will have a more space. So here we are going to start. So this is how we write dim wp as workbook, and then you write for each workbook in workbooks. Okay, I've already explained this code in the series number 3. Please go ahead and watch that. I'm again repeating because we are not going to discuss here on the basic part, right? If you want to understand it from the scratch, please go ahead and watch this series 3. Okay, so now what happens, but still I'll give you the little idea actually. If you are still watching this video, I mean, you don't have, maybe you have a little clue, then I'll tell you what exactly it happened. Now see, if I run this loop using this message box, and I say that wp.activate. Okay, now see guys, what will happen the moment I run this loop, expected function or variable message box, as I'm so sorry, actually we need the name of the workbook, right? Now you know that I have 3 workbooks opened, including this dummy one, dummy test and test 1. So the moment you run this loop is so powerful that it is going to give you the names of all the open workbooks. So this is the dummy one, this is the test one, and this is the test 1.xlsx. powerful loop, right? And the loop finishes. So what happens if I open another workbook? So let me open the workbook from here, file open, and let's say I'm going to open this workbook called any workbook. Let's say the intro workbook. Okay, I got this workbook open. Now this is the workbook which I have opened. Now again, let me run the macro. Okay, and where is my macro? Yeah, that's my macro. So let me just run this. Dummy, test 1, and intro. You see that? So it is automatically going to capture all these workbooks. So no matter how many workbooks you have opened. Let me close this now. Okay, so now we don't want to actually get the message box. All you obviously know that. Instead of that, we want to activate the workbook. So this is what you will write. Now if you say that why I need to activate, because if you won't activate it, then how you going to select those sheets of those workbooks, and how you going to copy the data from there and going to paste the data in this dummy, right? It's a very simple example. So let's say if I give you the task that you need to copy the column A and B of the sheet 32. So you will have to go to the sheet 32, right? So first you will select the sheet and then you will select the columns. So in Excel, whenever you copy and paste something, first you need to select that, right? If I'm on this cell and I say that you got to copy the A1 cell, how will you do that? You can't actually select, select the A1 by simply being on this cell. It doesn't make any sense, guys, right? You first need to select that. So when you copy and paste things, you first need to select. So that is why I'm writing here that you got to select the workbook. Now if I run this code quickly, see this in the background, dummy workbook is activated. So we ran this is the first time the loop ran, and you didn't see any changes because I'm already default on the dummy. Okay, so you didn't see any change, but the moment the next time you run, you see that your new workbook is activated, which is open, and again you see that now the test one is activated, and afterwards there's no other file which I have opened, Excel file, so the loop should stop, and it is actually stopped. So this is on this principle we are going to run the loop. Now once I have all the workbooks activated, what is the next thing I want to do? Now this is very powerful. We are going to run two loops, loop inside the loop, the best example. So now once you have activated the workbook, you want to loop through all the worksheets of that active workbook. So here we go. We're going to write here for each WS in worksheets, and then next. Okay, and I will have to declare this WS as well, comma WS as worksheet. Okay, now again, if you want to understand this loop for each worksheet, then please go ahead and watch series 1 and series 2. These two videos are on this for each worksheet. Okay, all right. Now I'll still tell you that what this loop is going to do. See, this is very powerful loop. So I'm going to select the sheet. This is how you select the sheet. Now let's run this. First I will be on my dummy sheet. Now if you pay attention to this loop, see what will happen. Let me just move it little up. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's it. Okay, now let's just run this loop. Okay, now you are already in the dummy workbook. So what will happen now on the dummy workbook, it is going to loop through all the sheets one by one. You see that your sheets are going to selected, they're going to be selected one by one. So right now I'm on the sheet 33, which is the first sheet, and then 32. You can see in the Excel, all the sheets are changing. See this. Let me just put it little up. Yeah. Now you see that all the sheets are getting selected one by one. This is so powerful, right? And not only this, once the sheets are over, because this is your last sheet, right? And then we are finished with the loop, so it goes to the next workbook. It activated the test workbook now, because that is the second workbook, and now it is going to run the loop on all the sheets here. Look at this. All the sheets finished, and then again it is going on the test one, and on the test one again it starts from the first sheet. No matter whatever your selection is, it will always start with the first sheet. Okay, the sheet number 1. Okay, there we go, and the macro finished, and you see that the ends up. So what happened? We are first going on the workbook, and then in that workbook we are running further one more loop, which is for each worksheet, and it is going on every sheet of that active workbook, right? So obviously we don't want to just only select the sheet, we want to copy the data. So I want to, let's say, select this sheet. Once I selected this sheet, I want to select this, I want to copy this, and then I want to come back to my dummy sheet, and I want to go on the first sheet, and I want to paste the data there. This is what exactly my task is, right? So what you will do to copy the data, this is the command which you use. Select all cells, Control A, and then selection dot copy. Once you copied it, what you will do, you will be back on your dummy workbook. So you write like this, dummy.xlsm.activate. Okay, and then you got to select the first sheet. So we'll write here sheets, and I'm going to declare here j.select. Now what is j? J is nothing. We are going to declare a variable here j, which is j as comma j as long, and I'm going to start j with this 1. Okay, so which means that the first time when this loop runs, j will be 1, and this is going to be the first sheet, and on that first sheet I will go in its A1 cell. Okay, and then active cell, paste special, Excel paste value, paste all, whatever you want to do, that's all up to you. Format, you know, these are different things. So I'm just want to show that if there is any formula in the sheet, it should be pasted as formula. Okay, so I guess so far we are good with this, and this is your complete loop actually. So let's see that if we can make it or not. Okay, so now let's go ahead and start the code, rerun the code actually. So I'm on the dummy and I'm going to run this again. There we go. It selected the workbook. Now there is one more thing very interesting. You see guys, the first workbook obviously will be the dummy, because here you are running the code, but you don't want to do anything in this dummy. You don't want to copy the data and paste it here, because this is itself a dummy workbook. So we want to avoid this. We want to go to the other workbooks and we want to copy the data from there and bring it back in this workbook. So this is not done, because this is going to simply do nothing but nonsense, because it selects the sheet, and it is going to copy this. Why we are actually copying this? Because it's a template actually, right? So why don't we go ahead and write the if condition here, that if workbook name, okay, if, or you can even write in the top as well, or maybe, I mean, whatever you want to write after the, I think after workbook dot activate also it is fine. So we are going to say that if the name is equals to dummy, please remember if it's a case sensitive. Okay, so write in the exact way. If you are the dummy, if you're not the dummy actually, I would say, okay, then run this loop. Okay, and if you are dummy, then else do nothing. Just a comment for you so that you can understand. And if, okay, all right, so now let's run the loop and let's have a look. There we go. You know that what is the workbook name? The first workbook name obviously should be your this dummy one. So let me just put the watch here so that we can see that what is the workbook name actually. You can see here the workbook name is dummy. So this condition fails because this is not equals to this, but this is equals to this dummy. So you see that it goes in the else mode. And if next, now this is a bigger loop, so next, what is the next? Now it activates the next workbook, which is the open one actually. So you know that now this is the test one, and test workbook actually is not equals to this, test is not equals to dummy. So this loop is now going to run. So for each worksheet in worksheets, this loop is going to run in this workbook. There we go. So it selects the workbook. You can see that I was on 2014, but it selected 2011 by default. Now this cells.select is going to select the entire sheet, copy the data. Now you should be back on dummy, which is your dummy file, and here you see that this j is 1, because I've said here that the j should start with 1. Okay, so the j is going to be 1, so it selects this sheet. You can see that I'm on the 4th sheet. It goes in the A1 and it pastes the data here. Okay, now what is the next thing you want to do? You also want to actually increment the j by 1 here to go to the next sheet. Okay, so I just pull it back here, and now you see that the j value is 2. You can see here, right, the j is 2. Let me hover my mouse back again here. Yeah, there we go, j is 2. So now next, time for the next worksheet. So next worksheet is also selected, but the point is, now you see that it says the method worksheet failed because it cannot select the sheet. Why? Because this loop was running actually in the test workbook, and somehow you don't have that workbook activated. Okay, so if you don't have that workbook activated, it's going to create a problem. So let's write here activate also, so that once you are on the dummy, then it should be back on the same file. Okay, so I'm gonna write this line, I'm going to execute it again. F8. There we go. Now we are good to go. You see, there are so important things in this video. So now it is again back on this. Now the next time this will select the worksheet, and as expected it selected this 2014. Okay, it should have selected the 2013, but I guess because we moved this loop, you know, I actually moved it, so it, you know, didn't do that properly. So no problem, let's just reset the code, and let's go ahead and let me delete this data again. So now let us run the code again. There we go. The first name of the workbook is, as expected, it is a dummy one, so it is going to skip this, else and if. The next workbook is test. So now test is not equals to dummy, you have put the condition, so now this loop is going to run. It has selected the sheet, copy the data, this we have seen earlier. I'm back on my dummy, and now this is going to be my sheet number 1. I selected this sheet number 1, it goes in the A1, it's already on the A1, that's why you don't see, but now this is going to paste the data. I have incremented the J. Now once you have incremented the J, the next time the loop is going to run, you got to be back on the same workbook, right, which was the test one. Okay, so I'm back on that. Now you know that after this 2011 it should select 2013, and as expected it's selected. Now again the data is copied, you can see that the data is copied. I'm back on my dummy. Now this time the sheet number would be 2. Okay, so you can see that, let me hover my mouse here, you see that J is 2. So it selects now the second sheet, goes in the A1 and paste the data there. Wonderful. Now again you need to increment this J by 1. Okay, again you get this J incremented, wb.activate, it will activate that workbook back, which is your test, and again 2014 is selected. It selects the entire data, copy the data, back on this, selects the sheet 31, because sheet 31 is, don't go by the sheet 31, right, this means 3, the index of the sheet is 3. So if you see that this sheet 31 start from here 1 2 3, so it's actually a position. Okay, so we are not really bothered about the sheet names, and there we go. So you can have the active sheet date name there, J equals to J plus 1. Again we are going to increment it. Now the workbook dot activated, the workbook is activated, but now because this workbook is looped through, I have done the job. Okay, the job is done because we have looped through all the sheets. Now automatically it will go in the end if. Okay, so you can also do one thing, you can you know, also actually get it closed, but that's fine, let's just keep them open, no problem. Now the next, now workbook activate, this selects the test 1, another workbook is selected. You know, it is not actually, this is the test 1, it is not dummy, so again the loop will run. It selected the first sheet, automatically copies the data, and it comes back to the dummy. Now what is the value in the J? It's 4. Let me hover, yeah, it's 4. So you know the fourth position is sheet 30, so it selects the sheet 30, and here it's going to paste the data. Wonderful. And again I'm back on my test 1. Now on that test 1, actually I'm going to go on the sheet 2. It copies the data from there and it is going to paste the data. So let me just quickly run this, all the code. You see that everything is happening in a very proper way. Pastes the data, next, and now it's over because we have looped through all the worksheets. Next, ends up guys, because there is no now workbook which is open. Okay, so when you through with the loop, you can also write here workbooks dummy dot activate. You can write this line, or maybe you can write this workbook dot activate as well. This workbook means that where you have written the code. So this line can also be replaced by this line, just for your extra information. Okay, this workbook, when you write this workbook, actually it means that where your module is inserted, from where you are running the macro, right? So this workbook is there, and then you can print the message box that I'm done, let's say. Okay, so now if I run the macro again, for example, let's do one thing. Let's have another workbook. Let me open this into workbook, and let's say we have so many sheets here, right? So I'm going to delete a couple of them. Let me delete them. Let's try to run this as well, and let me delete this as well. So the last sheet which we have here is sheet 7, and I'm going to write here my name just to test if we got the correct data or not. Okay, and let me in fact paste it everywhere. Okay, now save this. Okay, so now I have this macro on, which is this macro, and I want to run this. So I come back to my dummy sheet, okay, here, and I need not to delete this data, but still let me delete the data. Let's make the file template blank. So we have here now enough sheets. I know this is going to be used, all the sheets, we have extra sheets, and let me insert the macro, the shape, basically this. So I can insert here a button, and I can say that assign macro. Which macro? Now you see that, guys, this is again one more information for you. Macros in all open workbook. Now I have opened so many workbooks here, so they may have their own macros also coming here, and that is going to create a confusion for you, because so many macros. So why don't you just go ahead and just select this. Now you see that it only is going to tell you about your macros, particular macros. This workbook means that the macros which are a part of this dummy.xlsm. Now I see here two macros, module 1 and module 2. So basically I shouldn't actually have named the macro in the same way, because I think the module 1 also we have a compile one. Okay, but this is not required, so I just write here compile data. Okay, great. Now let's click the assign macro, and yeah, this is the macro I want to do it. Okay, so now let's go ahead and run. So I have test 1 and intro, all the workbooks open, and this you can see that all the sheets are blank. So let us go ahead and let's run this, and let me insert some more sheets just in case if we require them. Extra sheets are not going to be harmful. Okay, so let's just go ahead and run this. There we go, guys. All right, wow, amazing. Oh wow, I'm done. Quickly you can see that this is the last sheet which we have created. Okay, so now I know that many of you must be thinking that is there any way to rename these sheets, maybe the same name which these workbooks actually have, like 2011, 2013, right? I hope I know, you must be thinking on that. So yes, you can do that. What you need to do is here, when actually you're pasting the data here, you can see that one thing, that active sheet dot name should be equals to worksheet dot name. That's it. So worksheet, whatever the worksheet you have selected, the name of that would come here. I have already shown you when I was using this message box, ws.name. You go ahead and watch the previous videos as well, which I was talking about. There I have given you this example. So active sheet should have that name. So I guess this is the only line which you need to insert. So let's go ahead and let's run the macro again. So I'm going to select all the sheets using the shift key, and I'm going to delete everything. Okay, so we are back on this, ungroup the sheets, and there we go. Yeah, so you can see all the sheets are blank, right? This is going to be very exciting. Let's see if the code is going to work or not. So I'm gonna hit on this. There we go. All right, so that name is already taken. Try a different one. All right, but the names, you see that they are coming. So why it says that name is already taken? I guess because sheet 30 must have been created. Let's just see what is the WS name. All right, so that is the problem actually, because WS name is sheet 1, so it must be on this sheet. Okay, so this sheet 1 actually it is trying to create this sheet, but I believe this name must be here. Let me scroll it up. Yeah, you can see that sheet 1 is already created actually. That is actually the problem. Okay, so it may happen because Excel can't create the same sheet again and again, right? So maybe you can do one thing, just in case if you get the error, you can run this. You can say that it should be actually it should add some any unique value to it. You can do that. I believe you can do one thing, guys. You can join it with the maybe let's say and you can write here and you can write here data word. That's it. Okay, because you see then what will happen the next time when this code will run, it is going to actually concatenate the sheet name with the data, and this is going to give it a unique name, right? Or you can, whatever you can think of. Look at this, it ran and says that sheet 1 data. Okay, you can add the space as well here, that will make a sense. Okay, or maybe anything you can do. I mean, you can also add the month or day, whatever you want to do that, or any number. I just want to give them actually the unique name. Okay, so maybe I can put the underscore with this. I think that look much better. So let's just pull this back and run the code again. Yeah, this is much better, sheet 1 underscore data. Okay, so now let's just go ahead and I'm again going to come back to my this dummy file, and I'm going to delete the data from all the sheets quickly, and let me name it something else, sheet 1, or maybe let's say anything, or let it be whatever it is, because this time it is not going to create 2013, it should create 2013 underscore data. Okay, so now we are back here. I'm going to hit on this. This is the data it pasted actually when the macro ran, so we're good to go. Let's run this. Okay, there we go, guys. Yes, that's it. Perfect. Okay, so now you can see that you have all the sheet names. The name is there, and you have 2011 data, 13, 14, sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4, sheet 10. These are all actually the names of those sheets, you know, the workbooks which we have created here. So in this way you can do, like for example, if you would have given here a good name, you know, then the name automatically would have been there also. That is not the problem. So that's the end of this video. I really don't want to take much of the time here. I hope you understood the concept, but yes, the basic understanding is really required on this loop. So please go ahead and watch those the last 3 videos as well, right? I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to give your comments, and if you have watched this video for the first time, guys, please don't forget to subscribe as well. Thank you so much. I will be back with another exciting stuff very soon. Thank you.